Hello, hello, hello. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your guy, Amir A-Rock Sealy. I'm here today. It's Motivational Monday. Y'all know how we do. We do this each and every Monday. We try to give y'all a couple of jewels, throw a few things up against the wall, and basically we're just trying to get your week and your day off to an absolutely phenomenal start. So I'm here, as I always am on Monday. This Monday, I have a bit of a treat because my co-host and my partner in crime, usually it's two kings, it's myself and the one and only Talent. But Traveling Mercies has Talent off doing some other big things. So today we've got a queen to bring into the game. And we got somebody who some of y'all are pretty familiar with. She's been on a few of our lives, but she's now become part of the family and definitely part of the fold. It's the one and only Queen Bernadette. And so for those of you who are not familiar with her, Prophet, could you do me a favor, bruh, and bring Queen Bernadette onto the screen?
Hey
Queen!
guys.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
It's
hey,
Monday,
King Amir.
Monday. How are you, Queen B? Look, this
I'm
week, y'all,
blessed.
we're doing a little bit differently for y'all. Like I said, normally it's two kings, but this week it's a king and a queen. So for any of
Yes.
y'all who, need that duality as far as energy goes, that's what today is going to be about. You got a king, you got a queen in the building, and we're going to give some points of views and talk about some beautiful things and how the weekend has gone. So first, let's start with that. Bernadette, how was
Yes.
the weekend? How you doing today? What's going on?
Oh, I'm so blessed, Amir. Thank you so much for asking, and thank you so much for having me. As always, it's a pleasure, to be able to be a part of your talk. I enjoy it so much. We got to talk this weekend, which I loved. It was a great chat, and I was out in Pennsylvania yesterday. Sean Harvey. So for those of you who are in the Philly area, Sean Harvey, or anywhere actually, the Sean Harvey Morning Show Wake Up Team had me on last week. I'm going to be in studio Friday. So I went out yesterday to meet the team. Well, I know Sean, I've met him before, but meet with Senny J and with Barbie Cologne. And it was such a great time. And I'm so glad that I was able to do that. And, I'm just feeling so motivated today, just even from the weekend. So great weekend. How was yours, King?
My weekend was good. It was a little quiet, Well, it was quiet and then it was busy all at the same time. We
Okay.
talk about motivational Monday, and one of the things that motivates me is, believe it or not, trying to help friends and family. And this weekend in particular, I had, a few situations where I had to kind of help walk a few people off the ledge. Now, I know some of y'all are going to yourself, well, man, that would sound like it's draining as opposed to motivating. But the reason why it motivates me is because for me, what I tend to do is look at those situations, take what information I'm learning from what they're going through, throw it in the
Mm-hmm.
toolbox. So when I get a chance to speak to all you beautiful people, guess who gets the benefit from learning,
The
what I learned in
jeweler.
the situation. So I take this time to always, kind of reflect on, things, especially the week and how the week has gone, and hopefully just look at the pieces that didn't go so well, make whatever adjustments I need to make so the following week, not only could it be better, but it could be phenomenal. But the biggest
Yes.
motivation that I had this weekend, and this beautiful queen and I are gonna get into it, was the verses. Now I'm a ask those of you who are out there in on our platforms. I hope you got a chance to watch it, and if you didn't, I'm sorry, but we darn sure gonna talk about it because the verses this weekend between the iconic Big Daddy Kane and the iconic KRS1, aka the Teacher, for me was an absolutely incredible, incredible moment. I'm not going to call it for the culture and all this stuff. I hate all that kind of saying. I think it was an incredible moment for music, and especially for those of us who have grown up on hip hop. And I happen to be one of those young
Yes.
persons who have grown up on hip hop. So I watched it from its inception to where it is now. And it is always great to see great musicians give us a great show. And I thought
Yeah.
for myself personally, it was an absolutely, absolutely great show. So,
Yeah.
with that having been said, I'm going to defer to the Queen first and see what she thought and see if she watched it and let me know what her thoughts were.
Well, I watched most of it. I caught it
Okay.
today because I wanted to be, able to speak to it. And, I don't know if I'm getting old or something, but I'm definitely looking at, hey, Miss Drew, um, was looking at a few other things, like, when it first started, how KRS-One was looking like Godzilla. and he was like looking ready for battle, right? And then Big Daddy Kane came out and he looked like Little Nas X daddy. And I was like, I think I'm
Wow.
starting to put some one and ones and two and twos together here.
Wow.
I was not expecting Big Daddy Kane to look like Little Nas X as an adult. But overall, getting into the music part of it, it just took me back to like our time when hip hop was real and it was pure, and they were talking about skills and they were talking about, you know, what was going on in their world, and it wasn't all of this. We've talked about it, some of the more current music, which to me is just a little disinteresting. So I definitely appreciated it. Good
Okay.
job, both sides.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Excuse me.
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brenda.
I did want to add one more thing, and it's, you know, when you think about it, because I'm a Queens girl, you know, I say it all the time, and you know, this is Bronx going against Brooklyn, but back then we were very territorial when it came to music. But today it's kind of like the argument you guys were making when it comes to being in New York City all day, every day. You know, you're a New York fan. That's how I felt when I watched it, like a New York fan, because there was some KRS songs that were killing, and I'm like, easy. I'm like, wait, don't talk about my city, don't talk about my borough, though. It was dope.
No, I absolutely agree with you. You know, I thought first and foremost, it's funny that you know, like you said, it's always interesting to hear people's takes on the actual verses itself because you get all of these varying ideologies and you know all this varying energy. I know for me, one of the things that stood out and Smooth B, his family, we grew up in the same neighborhood up in the South Bronx. I knew his wife and you know his children's her mother. God rest her soul, Keisha. The cake that he came out with. Somebody, a very good friend of mine, right after we had a talk about it, and he said, "Yo, didn't that remind you of the Dave Chappelle skit when they had the pimps and they had went back to slavery?" And I don't know if y'all remember that skit. They had the cape on with the fedora. Y'all couldn't stop laughing. I must have laughed for at least a half an hour off of that. I could because I kept on picturing it. I was like, I can't wait for the meme to come out today and then put that side by side. Then the other thing that struck me to something that you said about Big Daddy Kane. Somebody said Big Daddy Kane looked like the internet comedian Country Wayne's dad. Yo, when I tell you I couldn't stop laughing. It was just so many you know highlighted moments and beautiful things, and that's like you said. That's what makes you know these kinds of things great. Now, as an adult, you get to look at it from a different perspective. But one of the biggest things that I took away from the battle or the um, wonderful show that we
Yes.
got to see yesterday was you got to see two iconic giants do something that they do better than anybody else. But what I really appreciated about it is they showed you that it's about energy. It's not about age. Because if you
Right.
really paid attention to not only their performances, but then the actual words and things
Yes.
that they were doing, right now, those two gentlemen can take on any of these young dudes and totally destroy them. I'm not talking about no light work. I'm talking about totally annihilate any of these young MCs or any of these young, you know, performers. Big Daddy Kane said some rhymes that if you go back and you listen to them freestyles, you'd be like, and then KRS One obviously had that moment where he freestyled and he was like, let me let y'all know I really do this. So I thought that that was so paramount
Exactly.
in such a big moment for not only the music, but for those of us who are in the mind frame and mindset. And this is why I think it's motivating that sometimes you're too old to do stuff. You're never too old to do anything. It's just a matter
Right.
of whether or not you can get past what you perceive and think people are going to think of and or say about you. That's not your concern. Your job is to go out there, take whatever gift
Yes.
you have, present that to the world, and let all the other stuff fall into place the way it is or is not supposed to. You can't concern yourself with that because at the
Yep.
end of the day, people are always going to have an opinion one way or the other. To something that you stated just a little bit earlier, we grew up with boundaries. The Bronx against Queens, Queens against Brooklyn, Manhattan against, you know, Brooklyn, all these varying things. And the reality of it all is we're one city. And the beauty of it all is we have dynamic people in each and every part of our city. And if we don't
Yes.
celebrate that, if we don't come together and realize how dope that is and how powerful it is, then we're actually setting ourselves up for failure. And the
Right.
whole thing that you're supposed to be doing is putting yourself in a position to win. And the only way to win is to come together as a collective. So, like I said, for me personally, I thought it was an outstanding job on all parties involved. I even thought that the situation that happened between Kid Capri and DJ Scratch on a bigger scale was imperative and important too, because you're talking about hip hop. And the one thing hip hop has always done is bred competition. That's what it's
Right.
based on. We could
Right.
feel any kind of way. We could say to ourselves, you know, this now, is it did it seem messed up? It didn't to me, because to me it looked like Kid Capri took round one when it came to making sure that the crowd got into it, and then Scratch took round two when he pulled the stunt that he pulled. So to me, it was a one. You know, they was even. I was like, nobody won, nobody lost. These guys both showed that they're capable of doing incredible things given the opportunity. I don't know, you know, if you saw
Yes.
anything, you know, different about that, or felt any way, you know, differently about that.
Actually, I felt exactly the same way about the whole thing. I felt like you had two greats who did what they did, you know what I'm saying? And I think that they were both great at it. I don't think this is one of those situations that anybody did anything better. I think they just rocked the house. You know, the DJs, the MCs, they went out there to do what they could do. And I'm so glad that and appreciate that you invited me to Motivation Monday, because that verses made me like think about, even the motivation topic for today, which we didn't really talk about any topic. We're gonna see how it kind of flows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I look at these MCs, yesterday, these are people who are committed to their craft, right?
Yeah.
Some people are just no good at nothing else. And you talking about these dudes from back in the days. Back in the days, they weren't making the money they're making now, and it wasn't like it was today. And so, these guys have either had to go underground, and either become great DJs and just kind of do that, or they've gone into production where they're now behind the scene and they're doing more production work to get the check, because they don't really care about the stage stuff anymore. And some of them are reinventing their entire career, right? Because there's a whole generation of us, what we talk about, we got issues and we broken and we lost and we found and we all of this. There's a whole generation of us who also appreciate this music. And so while they may not have all the millennials, and I'm not even going to say that, because I know my youngest listens to all types of music. Like, he's a huge Jimi Hendrix fan. You know what I'm saying? So when music is universal, is worldwide, is ageless. And so, as I'm looking at these guys yesterday, I'm kind of like envious, because they knew very early on what they wanted to do and they did it. Right. And it took me like, a minute to get to that point. And it's like living that dream, not really, like, you can't go backwards. Everything happens for a reason. But being able to live your dream from the beginning, and now, and I'm sure, like all entrepreneurs, I want to motivate some entrepreneurs today, guys. I really do. We are essential. We are important. When you look at musicians, they are entrepreneurs. If they don't find ways to make money, they don't.
Yes.
Nobody's cutting them a check automatically. There are various scenarios of it. But, when I saw that yesterday, it was like, um, myself being in this change of life, where I left corporate America, ADP, a few months ago, right? A real sense of security and what you think is security. I think you were talking about it
Mm-hmm.
maybe the other day with talent, where it's like you think you have this sense of security, but it really is at their will, right? And so I've been an entrepreneur before, not that successfully in what I was doing, successfully in getting clients, but not successfully in being able to maintain it, so that I'm get to a point where I'm seeing the growth and I'm seeing the abundance of my work. And so I went back to ADP. I'm like, I need certain things to kind of happen and line up. And excuse me. So once all those things happened and they lined up, all those things worked. Why? Because I made them work. Because when you want to do something and you're committed to something, you work hard at it. And
Right.
so, once you get to that point, I'm like, okay, I'm here, but I'm not getting what I want. I'm not getting what I need. And this is a place that entrepreneurs either start at. An entrepreneur either says, I'm not doing that at all, I'm finding some other way to get it, or they've gone through this process and they're like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I find that I want to be more of a risk taker. I want to do other things that go with being an entrepreneur. So, like many things, when you're an entrepreneur, you go through all types of bumps. And, when I looked at KRS-One and, even Big Daddy Kane, I don't know where these guys are financially. You know what I mean? I don't know that they have tons of money, but I know that they've probably hit some real bumps in their lives. I was watching the Fat Joe story the other day. I can't remember what it was. If it was a unsung Fat Joe, right? When he was at the height of his hit career, went to jail for the IRS. And not even because he wasn't paying his bills, because somebody else wasn't paying his bills, but the IRS said you weren't checking it. So guess what? You got to do some time.
Yes.
And so on top of the fact that he had to come off the road for some months, so he's not earning any income. They take the income that he has now because he owed them so much. You know what I mean? And now he's at a restart. But this is what he does. Fat Joe does music. And so
Yes.
to reinvent himself was nothing. And for KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane, for them to be able to do this, if they're the entrepreneurs that they are, they should, while the opportunity is here. I wanted to just speak to the people who are possibly on the fence, who maybe thought about being an entrepreneur, but just couldn't take that leap. Or possibly people like myself who are new back into it, and it's not easy, and it's not. The motivation for me today has been the signs that I've been given over the past couple of weeks that are showing me you're on the right path. And, I'm hopefully here, somebody can hear me when they say that, look for the signs. There are things all around you all the time that are telling you when things are right or when things are wrong, whether it's the gut in your stomach, whether it's the nagging in your brain. There's always something that's telling you that, something's not right. And so, when it comes to making decisions like changing my whole life, giving up a very steady paycheck, and, you know what I'm saying, all this other stuff, to be like, yeah, I could do this, because if I could do it for them, I could do it for me. That's one thing. But the next thing is who's buying in, right? And so once you start seeing some buy-in where you're like, either doing a morning show from someone, and or even asking to be, I don't know where King Amir went, but he'll come right back.
No,
Or
no, you
even asking.
go do
I can't
you.
see you.
It's
Okay.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say, so whether it's being on the Sean Harvey Morning Show, or coming on here on Motivation Monday to be able to share this story with y'all. This is God's way of letting me know that I'm on the right path. And so for you people who are in that place of, I'm not sure, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know if I can do this, pay attention to the signs and do what is called for you. I would love to have been doing this something socially years ago, but this is just how it unfolds and how it plays itself out. So for my entrepreneurs, I know it's hard, the hardest job in the world, I always say, but hang in there and stay committed to to your path. So I had to share that because it's been so overwhelming. And I'm like, this is Monday, y'all. First of all, we woke up today. Hello, King. We woke up today. I said good morning to you. You said good morning to me. We talked some ish earlier. I'm
Yes.
blessed.
Yes.
I'm blessed.
I'm a unpack some of the things you said, because you actually said a mouthful of things that need to be addressed and or talked about. So let's get back
Let's
to
talk about it.
the fact that you spoke about the Karis One and Big Daddy Kane in particular, and their
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial spirit. One of the things that so many of us, and you touched on this as well, have such an interesting time doing is finding whatever our gift is. Like you said, those two gentlemen learned early on what their gift was, so they were
Yes.
able to then take that gift and share it with the world in a way and have an impact on the world that most of us think that we're not capable of doing. The fun
Right.
thing is your impact is just the same as theirs. The difference is they just continue to work at it and they continue to believe in it. Most of
Mm-hmm.
us, there are a number of people here, in the room as always. I've seen Alfreda, I've seen Miss Drew, I've seen
Yep.
Marlene,
Adrian, Sparkle
Adrian.
13. Hey
I think,
guys.
you guys have to understand that when you find whatever your gift is, it's just your job to share it. Like I said, you don't
Yeah.
have to have a specific game plan. You don't have to say to yourself, I need to do it a specific way. You just need to share it. The universe and the world will start, taking you down other pathways and putting you in places and spaces that you never thought possible because of your gift and because of what you're sharing with the world. Because the people who are most likely to want to understand and or go with you along that journey, they'll start just showing up. You'll look up, you'll be like, oh snap, how did I get here? And who brought that person? And when
Right.
did you get to the party? So
Right.
I always encourage everybody when when you finally find that thing that, like she said, rings in your head, speaks to your spirit, it's in your heart. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Something else she said about, still having a job and or doing your entrepreneurial spirit. Look, the one thing that we found out, if you haven't learned anything over the last few years, and I hope that we all have, is that you have to have several things going on. Meaning you have
Yep.
to possibly have a job and then have, and I hate to call them side hustles. We got to stop calling stuff side hustles. You have to have multiple ways that you're having resources and income come into your world. That's it.
Exactly.
They're not a
Exactly.
hustle. It's not. It's just you working on other things and other interests. Other interests. I think that that's the
Yep.
big word that we have to, start utilizing. People say, "Oh, you got a side hustle." No, I have other interests. I
Right.
can do this job all day, every day. I'm good at that, and that works out for me in a specific way. But I have other interests that I also want to fuel. I also want to bring to the world and allow the world to then partake in it in whatever way they deem and see possible.
Right.
We have to get away from this whole ideology that your job is to force people to like what you want to talk about and or be a part of it.
Right.
No, it's your job to share it. The people
That's
who
it.
like it, trust me, they will show up. You'll be surprised. All kind of interesting people will show up. Bernadette, like you said, is a clear example of this, and I am as well. When this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing started, the pandemic, y'all know, especially those of y'all who are on this line in particular, and I'm sure the people who are going to get a chance to see this. Like I said, Talon's been my boy for over 30 years. Literally, we rocked and rolled all kind of situations. I've been around him in the comedy game. I've been around him on all kind of other levels. I always spoke like this. I've always had the ability to talk to people. Just before we got on this live, I called one of my boys. Today's his birthday. And I was wishing him a happy birthday. And he said to me, he said, man, I see you doing your thing. He said, bruh, I don't know why it took you so long to get there. He said, because you've been doing that for years. That is just who you are.
Wow. That's
He said, the fact
amazing.
that the world is now getting a chance to see it is so dope. He said, but bro, you've been that dude forever. He said, you just have a
Yes.
way with words and you have a way of warmly allowing people to come into whatever it is you're speaking on.
Yep.
Now, I have to tell y'all, I was afraid of it myself because, in all fairness to and transparency to everybody on this line, I'm thinking to myself when I spoke to my friends and family, you're my friends and family. Technically, you're supposed to listen. Now, I know that's arrogant and silly, but when you think about it, you kind of expect the people closest to you, hopefully,
To
to
support you.
to support you and to think that whatever you are sharing with them is heartfelt and from a right place. But when you
Yes.
start going into other spaces and people are giving you that same feedback who you don't know, who you're
Mm-hmm.
not familiar with, then you
Mm-hmm.
start really thinking to yourself like, oh my goodness, wait a minute, maybe there is something here. I don't, I
Yes.
wasn't sure about this, but now that I'm having the opportunity to do this, I'm really excited about it. And I think that the last, point that you made, which was the whole, just following, again, your spirit and your energy. Look, guys, y'all hear me say it all the time, and that's, one of the closing lines. But I believe this: if genuinely you do things from your heart,
Yeah.
the universe is going to pay it back tenfold.
Yep.
I really do believe that. I know some people may or may not believe that for various reasons because of maybe situations they've been in and out of, things that have happened to them along their pathways and their journeys. But I always try to ask people to do the one thing that we all should do. That's sometimes just take a good hard look at your life and start
Mm-hmm.
looking at the places and moments and spaces where things went extremely well, what your energy was like, what your
Mm-hmm.
mind frame and mindset was like, and what was going on around you. And if
Right.
you find in those moments that you were happy, you were in a good headspace, your
Yep.
energy was everything, then why not stay there? All
Right.
this catering and lowering yourself to somebody else's, falsehoods and interesting ideologies, it's not worth it. They
No.
look, miserable people are always going to love miserable people. That's
Exactly.
just what it is. So if you realize that being with dope and around dope people and fun people and exciting people is what, motivates you, then get with those people. That's what life is supposed
Yes.
to be. You're supposed to find your tribe. And once you
Yes.
find that tribe, run as hard as you can for as long as you can and get things done. The
Right.
rest of it doesn't make a difference.
Yep.
There's gonna be bumps. She
Yep.
she mentioned even for that, there's gonna be bumps in the road. So what? Just like when you're in a car, you bump over it, you keep it pushing. You don't
That's
sit
it.
there and go, "Oh my God, I ran into a bump." Life is supposed to throw some curves at you. It's throwing curves at you, technically speaking, because it's also trying to help you learn.
Exactly.
Life is about learning. That's all it is. It's
Exactly.
not about you being, always perfect and all this stuff.
Right.
I find myself so often, whether it's conversing on a personal level or even sometimes on some of these platforms. Y'all hear us talk about it.
Yep.
I don't look this way. I don't sound that way. So what? Do you know that there's a million people who probably fit your mold because they feel that exact same way and they just
Right.
waiting for somebody to be a voice for that so that they can, shine their light and turn that
Right.
light on within themselves?
Right.
That's what our jobs are. Your
Right.
job is to turn that light on, hopefully not only in yourself, but in somebody else. Because the
Yep.
more lights that come on, how we gonna have darkness, y'all?
Exactly.
How we gonna have darkness?
Exactly. Well
You know
said.
what I mean?
Yep.
So I just encourage everybody to please continue to do those kinds of things. Music is, like I said, such a huge motivator for me personally. I just happen to love music. So for me, yesterday, it was like being in the jam. I had people who were texting me and saying stuff like, "Man, I know you were dancing hard." And I sure enough was. My TV was on the highest volume possible. I'm dancing in there. I'm reciting all the songs. I'm doing the dances that go along with it. Let
Yeah.
that inner child
Enjoy.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
let that inner child out. Too many of us have gotten to this stage, and don't get me wrong. I know life beats you down sometimes, meaning you're just going through the motions. You got kids or you got significant others, but don't you remember the fly girl that you was when you was
Mm-hmm.
16, 17, 18? Don't you
Mm-hmm.
remember the fly guy you was when you was 16, 17, 18?
Mm-hmm.
That person still exists. You
Mm-hmm.
just put them you just put them up in the closet like you do that toy that you don't really want to play with so much anymore. You're like,
Exactly. That bag, those
bring that
shoes,
bring that person back
all of
out. Why?
those.
Because that person was fun. That person took the world on. That person absolutely was unafraid and unapologetic. Now
Yeah.
we sitting around, well, I don't know, and scared. What you scared of? What you scared of?
You
Being
should have
you?
been scared of getting on that roller coaster when we was going to Six Flags. That's what you should have been afraid of. Dangerous. Can I
Okay.
just say risky? And we jumping on it time after time, especially if there was nobody there. Everybody was like, get back on it.
See
That's
what
what
I'm
you should have
saying?
been afraid of.
But we won't do that. So again, it's imperative, man. And congratulations to this queen here, because like she said, she's finding her groove. That's the other thing. Find that groove, ride that wave.
Yes.
Like you look, y'all
Yes.
see surfing movies. You ever see them people surfing and they be riding that wave, rocking and rolling.
Right.
Ride your
Right.
wave, whatever wave that is, and don't be ashamed of it. We got
No.
people who turn around and try to upset you. I'm gonna tell y'all something else. So I'm watching that, like I said, the verses last night. Greg Nice happens to be a personal friend of mine. I've known Greg Nice since we was like 11, 12 years old. We played Little League football together. So to
Okay.
see him up there in that light, and then like I said, Smooth B, same thing, grew up in the same neighborhood, so I knew him, growing up. To see those gentlemen up there and to know that we came from the playground, Little League football,
Yeah.
to where those gentlemen are. Celebrate your people. Stop
Yeah.
sitting around hating. Stop sitting around talking about, oh, I wish that was me. That's not your job. Your job is to do
Exactly.
whatever it is you're doing and
Right.
to be great at whatever it is you're doing. We take so much time now, based off of the way that they formatted the world, to become upset about things that shouldn't even affect you that way.
Yes.
You shouldn't
Thank
be
you.
sitting here saying to yourself, oh my God, I wish my life was like this person. I watch and listen to so many people have to walk off the ledge. I'm not married yet because, and I'm like, you're not married yet because
It's
your
not
time
your
isn't here. That
time.
was the that was
Exactly.
the last thing that you said that I meant to address. Everything is timing. I
Yeah.
know people don't think that it is, but everything is timing. And the timing is just what it is.
Yep.
It wasn't your time.
Yep.
When your time comes, trust and believe, the floodgates going to open, all kind of amazing things going to happen, and you will be absolutely blown away by how dope
Yes.
your moment is.
Yes.
Like I said, those two gentlemen are over 50. They're in the same club we in.
Right.
Some of y'all, and she could attest to this, and she could, tell y'all the truth. We're in the stage now where, fortunately, unfortunately, in the 50s and looking the way that we do, we are taking care of ourselves a bit better. We're looking a certain way. So, for you ladies out there over 50, they're the cougars. You guys are cougars. Y'all look great, so forth and so on. For the guys who are in my age range, you 50 and over, but you kind of taking care. Zaddy. Y'all know
Oh
you ladies
Lord,
out there
he's
too.
still
Zaddy.
holding on to that
Listen
zaddy
to
title. I'm gonna need you to let that go.
I'm just
And
no,
I'm
but I'm
not a
just saying.
cougar, just so you know, baby.
No,
I am
but
too.
but I'm just saying I'm not saying that either one is. What I'm saying is that's what I mean about the world putting you in spaces and in places as opposed
Yes.
to just saying Bernadette at this stage of her life, Drusilla, Alfreda, Marlene, the list
Right.
goes on and on. These ladies look great. That's it. It's not because of their age. They look great. They're taking care of themselves.
Right.
Same for the men in your lives.
Right.
This guy looks great because he's taking care of himself.
Right.
He's eating properly. Maybe he's exercising. Whatever he's doing what he's doing, and the end result is he or she allows themselves to take care of themselves. We got to start encouraging that, y'all.
Yes, I have a question though, Amir.
Yes, you got it. Mhm.
Right? Is it is it me, or have you noticed that, like, we used to be those people that was like calling people cougars and zaddies, and now as we're like getting into that bucket, like sliding into, I'm like, I don't know. No, I don't. And it's like every year, it's like, 50, a cougar. I'm like, that's like next in a few months. And I appreciate that, we want to like label ourselves some great things.
Yes.
But, at the same time, it's like everything you just said, I co sign, because, you always drop those jewels. But none of that, all of those things must follow your faith. Marlene said it earlier, and it's so true. If you don't have faith, and this week on my show, we're talking God, right? Because God is so different to so many different people. But I know for me, there's something bigger than me that's allowed me to walk this path, protect me, help me grow, help me be a better person, help me be a person that I am today, and not, you know what I mean, that angry person that I was back then. There's something so much bigger, than me. And trusting that, even a tiny bit, is faith. And that's one of the things, that when you talk about, because people, boy, they'll throw a Bible verse at your ass in a minute. And yet the Bible says, right. And the Bible says, right. If I read the whole verse, I promise you that there's a few parts that are missing that kind of speak to something else, which is why you need to do your own homework. But all of that being said, it's like, what do they say? Works without faith are dead
Is
works.
yeah, yes,
So you must, all of those things that Amir is talking about must precede your faith. You got to understand that there's something bigger than us that makes this stuff happen. You call it whatever you want. Call it God, call it energy, call it Buddha, whoever, whatever. But there is something so much bigger than us that allows us to continue to, or I know I can speak for myself, be able to move in a way where I see those signs and I'm just like, exactly, motivation Monday. I'm up today. Why? I hate Mondays. Mondays like the worst. I sucks Mondays. But I get a good phone call, I get a good email, a text in the morning. I'm like, okay, let me, make this happen. And it's those signs where it's like, yeah, no, you are an entrepreneur. There is no sit down Mondays. Every day is motivation Monday.
yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. To what you just said, it's funny. Like you said, you take or you look at the word faith, and I look at it in this perspective. I think I think their sisters, the Campbell sisters or whatever, but they had that song, "It's the God in Me." I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if y'all are familiar
Mm-hmm.
with that song, but in all fairness, that's what faith is.
Right.
It's the God in you. It's the fact that you're doing the one thing that you're supposed to do on, and that's
Right.
bet on you. You're not betting on somebody else. You're not allowing, this to be a team effort. This is you going, I'm
Right.
gonna go out here and I'm gonna put this money on myself.
Right.
And however this is gonna turn out, it's gonna turn out. But I'm going into it believing that it's going to turn out for the best.
Right.
And I think that that's the where the faith part comes in.
Right.
Too many people start off in a place of negativity. Like I said, I told y'all I spent this weekend. Mary, thank you, Alfreda. I spent this weekend talking to, like I said, a few friends of mine. And one of the things that we don't understand, and this is something that I do touch on quite often, we think sometimes when we're saying things in the format that we're saying them that they're positive. But if
Right.
you take a moment and really listen to them, they're actually negative.
Right.
But we don't want to believe that because we're saying, I don't understand how and why my life is happening this way. And then you listen to the stuff that you've been saying to yourself and you go, oh,
Mhm.
okay, my bad. I need to
Mhm.
rephrase that. So to get to be motivated, it has to start with your thoughts.
Yeah.
Your thoughts then turn into actions, your actions turn into faith and turn into movement.
Right.
But thought is the biggest part because that energy is immediately translated into the universe for there to be some immediate return. How many times have some of y'all on this, platform who are listening right now honestly prayed and or said, I want A, B, C, and D. And it came like that. And then you wasn't ready. You were sitting there, oh my God, wait a minute. It wasn't supposed to come this fast. Like
Right.
there's supposed to be some thing that
Warning, an email notification,
yeah, yeah,
a text
that's
message.
coming
It's
that's coming in
coming.
2 weeks. It's coming in 2 weeks. No. You asked for it. It's coming right now. So I always tell people we really have to be, true and honest with ourselves about what we ask for and or be ready for whatever the thing is that's coming because it's coming. It
Right.
one way or another is coming. The thing
Right.
is, are you going to be ready to receive it and then do what you said you're going to do with it?
Right.
That's a big part of the equation as well.
Right.
We can easily ask for everything in the world. I want the opportunity to be in front of this. I want the opportunity to speak, to this group of people or to, do these things. And then I'm telling you, the opportunity comes and we freeze up. One of the things that I enjoyed about watching that battle as well yesterday, and this is what I mean about when you really take all of the elements of what we saw. First and foremost, they gave us every element there is to hip hop yesterday. The only thing they didn't do up there was graffiti. I want y'all to
Mhm.
think about that. That's the only
Mhm.
thing that didn't happen. We had
Mhm.
break dancers,
Break dancers.
old and young.
Mhm.
Thankfully we had some young dudes. No disrespect to the elders that got up there because to be in the shape that they know, because to be in the shape that they are at this stage of their life, don't forget we all in our 50s. So if you
Exactly.
drop in and do all that kind of stuff, you doing pretty good because there's a lot of us, or not a lot of us, but there are some of us got walkers, replacement hips, and all kind of stuff. So
Right.
for those gentlemen to still be able to get up there and pot lock and do some of the stuff they do, you have to be mindful and thankful for that because that means
Yes.
again these gentlemen are taking care of themselves. They're in tremendous shape. But the other side of that is we have to learn from it and understand that this is why you need to eat properly. You need to take your vitamins and minerals. You need to plant the better seeds in your head because obviously we all have doubts. We all get to moments where we think to ourselves, "Oh, this isn't that great, and I wish I could have done this. Or I wish I would have done that."
Right.
And those things are gone now. You can't
Right.
go back and change time. What you can do is going forward, do better going forward.
Right.
Once you know that there are some things that you did that required some tweaking, make those tweaks, and then going forward, hopefully you'll continue to do the better thing as you go forward. That's what makes this journey called life so dope to me. Now,
Right.
obviously, other people will have a different opinion on that, and I welcome those opinions as well because we're all not supposed to be thinking exactly alike, and we're all not supposed to be doing the exact same thing. Because if we did, this be a boring place. Y'all know that. Just think about it, on your own, and let that rattle around in your head.
Like let that cook up like stew.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. But I say that again, it's not a way to allow people to be frustrated. Yeah, no, but it's true, because sometimes you start to think about moments that you've had in your life, and you say to yourself, you're like, wow, I repeated that like 3 or 4 times.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's because the lesson that was supposed to come from it, obviously you keep missing the lesson. It ain't that you smart or dumb. It's just you keep going back to that same thing. And sometimes there's a level
Yes.
of comfort in some of the, interesting things that we've done in our lives. So we
Yes.
feel comfortable there, we stay there. But you
Yes.
hopefully have to understand that in order to get beyond or to the next level or whatever, terminology people are using, you got to continue to grow. That's what makes this journey called life dope. When you start taking some of those old things that, again, just don't serve you at all anymore. I got to get rid of that. I can't use that anymore. It's not helping me. It's not helping the people around me. It's not, allowing me to be in better spaces and be around different people and different things. This one thing that I love about this platform and about the internet is now it allows you to meet and be around people all around the world. So if you're
Yes.
not stepping out of your comfort zone to talk to people, to
Yes.
share, then what are you doing? I'm not saying get on there and
Agree.
be the person who, you think your job is to absolutely, kill people. Um, Good evening, Elizabeth. It's
Allison.
not, to get up there, and just totally destroy people and always talk bad about people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just genuinely getting in and out of different rooms, different people's lives, because you'll find different information. And the
Right.
cool thing about finding different information is now, again, things you can put in your toolbox. So
Right.
when you do come up against those kinds of situations, you know what? I remember a conversation about that. I
Yes.
remember seeing something or somebody talking about that.
Yep.
You can utilize those things to kind of help you maneuver whatever that space is.
Right.
That is so important. And we have to really understand that that's what's going to make you such a dope person. Because then when you come back and you share that in your circles, now what that's
It
doing is
gets
making bigger
bigger, right?
circles.
That ripple effect that we've talked about that can be disastrous or can be beneficial if you kind of like drop it in the right way, right? And when you talk about motivation Mondays and the things that you're talking about, which is stepping outside of yourself sometimes and being able to identify when things are working and not working, when they are working, maxing that out, when they're not working, letting that go. And I get kind of like kicked in the head for that sometimes. They say I'm too direct when I say that, but that's really what it comes down to at this stage of our lives. It's about what's working for you, what isn't, whatever isn't, how do I fix it or get rid of it? And that's the hard part because there's a lot of things that we have in our lives that we know we need to fix or get rid of, but we don't. To your point, King, why? Because we're comfortable. And,
Yes.
that's why whether it's a relationship, when I started this and I was talking about, being an entrepreneur, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a situation, there's somebody right now sitting in something right now that they know they need to make a decision on. They happenstance on this live so that they can understand that there is a message letting you know that sometimes the hardest thing to do is maybe the best thing for you. Putting yourself first, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes that hurts other people, but it's like the airplane. If you don't put your mask on first, you can't help anybody else. And so what I'm hoping is I know on my live when I talk about it, when you guys are talking about it, that's one of the things we're talking about is making sure that you're in a position you're good, you here, 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 and all of these places. Even if some of them are lacking, that's okay. They're not all going to be full, but trying to have the right balance of these things so that you can move forward in life. We talked about this. I've talked about this with people when I'm like, I want to be happy every day. Maybe not all day, every day. That's impossible. But I want to be happy. I want to be able to deflect that negative energy when it calls in and they like, nah, I'll call you back. I'll call you back. You know what I mean? I don't
See you
want
getting your
it.
Wonder Woman. I see you getting your Wonder Woman on. Ping, ping, ping.
I'm like, I can't do it. And, I want to be in anything that I do right now, at least for me, when it comes to my career. I want to do what I love to do. The great part, and anyone who's still listening, is that everything that you've done up until this point has given you, to Amir's point, the tools. Because in life, we're building up a tool belt of things that we need to get through life. I use that analogy in sales all the time because, being in sales for a long time, you got to have different tools in the belt to close these deals. And so,
Yes.
you know, when I realized that I could do this so well for other people, I'm like, I could close me, I could sell me, right? Whatever it is, whatever that tough decision is for some people, it's okay. Because as long as you're stepping out on faith, and Amir said it, I say there's a faith in God, and then the faith is for me and myself because I have to make it happen. But you have to step out on that faith and trust me. This, if nothing else, I'm sharing the past 2 weeks. I've been on some. Should I just get a meaningless job? What? You just left that to do what? Yeah, that's a negative. Should I just do you know, some contract work? No, that's the stuff that was keeping you distracted before. So I'm, you know, I'm having this conversation in my head, and at the end of the day, it's like, let, you got to trust it. Trust the process, trust yourself. And
Yes.
that's where you see those little signs and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yes. And the signs are always there. Look,
Yes,
guys,
they are.
they come in all shapes, sizes, and forms. And I know, for so many of us, the biggest part is the fear. Like
Yeah.
fear is such a such a interesting thing because, in all fairness to everybody, if you can get past the fear, the stuff that's on the other side of that, oh my God, listen,
Yes, yes, it's so
listen,
worth
and and
it.
and and I know that some of you have had moments where you know for a fact that fear had you frozen for a bit, and then the minute you got past that fear and you got to that other side, you was like, what the, man, I should have
Exactly.
done this eons ago. That's what
Exactly.
this is all about. That's why we try to
Yes.
motivate people every week because
Yes.
Monday technically is supposed to be that day that, you kind of starting
The
to get
hard
that
one to get
engine going.
over.
Like, all right, let's get the engine going. And that's if weekends are weekends to you, because there, in all fairness, there are some of us who don't have weekends. They work the weekends too, so they don't
Right.
have a situation where they say,
Right.
it's a weekend versus the week.
Right.
I think to something that you said earlier, Bernadette, is it's about you understanding that every moment for you counts in a way that counts to and for you. I'm gonna say
Right.
that again. Every moment for you is done in a way and a moment that counts to and for you. We
Exactly.
cannot allow ourselves to say that my how I'm doing something should be the same as somebody else does it, because y'all are two different people. And
Yes.
whatever their challenges are and the things that they're going through have nothing to do with your challenges or what you're going through. What you
Yep.
can do, and what I'm hoping that you will do though, is say, you know what, as long as I stay the course, as long as
Yep.
I continue to put one foot in front of the other,
Yep.
the results that I'm looking for are definitely coming. It's just a matter of me just staying the course.
Right.
The toughest challenge it is for all of us is to stay consistent.
Yep.
Consistency always is going to pay
Great
off in the
word.
long run. That doesn't mean that, you can't take a break every now and again, but if you find yourself taking a break, you got to go, wait a minute, break's over. Let me get
Get
back
back
to
to
work.
work. Yep.
Let
Get
me
back to
get back
work.
to work, because when you finally do get the payoffs, and here's something else, and maybe this is just me speaking for me, I don't believe in there all, to me, ultimately being a payoff. I think what happens is you achieve things, and then hopefully you just find something else new to strive for. Not
Yep.
that that thing isn't a great moment, but you just keep giving your thing, giving yourself other platforms and other plateaus that you hope to rise to. And
Yes.
if you've risen to every plateau that you think you're supposed to have risen to, that's your God given right. Please don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong
Yes.
for deciding that, look, I wanted to go to the fifth floor. I'm on the fifth floor. I'm happy. Fuck the rest of this building. I'm
Right.
good. Look, I mean that. We got to step, because
Yes.
I find so often that people are so frozen by that because you worried. I saw a funny TikTok before I got on here, and it was a sister, she had on some jeans, and she said, "Oh, you mad because I had these jeans on?" She said, "They told me my ass looks fat in these jeans." First of all, I was cracking up laughing watching it, but in my mind I was thinking to myself, it stems to sometimes things that I hear women say, "I can't wear that outfit again, I already got a picture in that." So what are you doing? Taking pictures for once in a lifetime? If you don't start wearing your goddamn clothes and stop allowing these people to tell you what you're supposed to wear and when you're supposed to wear it, fuck them.
Oh
They-
my God.
I
You
look,
know I love it.
y'all can't allow these people to, to be and tell you what you're supposed to be doing as far as your life is concerned.
Right.
Oh, you had that on already. Well, stop watching what the hell I'm wearing. Get your life
Exactly.
together. Why are you
Listen,
focused on me?
upgrade me. I'm not mad. Listen,
Yeah,
anything you want to fix, let's just go make it happen. That's where I'm at. Let's just go fix it. The mall is right down the street. You got the
yeah,
car. Let's just we gonna go with whatever you want to go with. Let's try it.
yeah.
You know what
Like,
I
come
mean?
on. So
No.
we've got to, understand that that's all a part of the process. Look, until you can get to a point where you got the walk-in closet with a gazillion shoes and all kinds of dresses and tops or whatever, you keep doing what the hell you doing. And whoever don't like it, too bad. They look, as I tell everybody, when you got
Yes.
five on it, then you can start telling me, what
Exactly.
you want to do about
You got
it.
five
when you
on
put
it.
when you putting in, then you can have a say. If you ain't putting nothing in, I don't really care what you think and how you feel about it. We got
No.
too many people who know that nobody's putting in, but you letting them tell you everything. Wait, whoa, 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 pump your brakes.
Exactly.
Hold on,
It's just my opinion. That's okay. You're right. It's just yours. Keep it to yourself. Nobody asked you. Shut the hell up and keep it moving.
and
Drink your
let me do what I'm
Starbucks.
doing. Thank you, thank you. That's it. It's imperative. It all stems from, again, just knowing that there are things in the journey that you're going to walk. Also understand this: you're more than likely going to walk it alone.
Yeah.
Will you have some people who will come along and help here and there? No question. But you might even have somebody that goes the whole distance with you. But the reality of it all is, it really is your journey to walk alone.
Yeah.
And if you don't put forth the energy, if you don't really dig deep enough within yourself, I know people who, say stuff like you need a big enough this and a big enough that. No, you just need to know that you see the finish line. Somebody else can't see a finish
Yes.
line for a vision that you have. No,
Yes.
there's no way they could see the finish line because it's your
Exactly.
vision.
Yep.
It's your vision. It's the same as our lives. You are the author of your life. You guys have heard this a million times, but you're the author of your life. If you
Yep.
need to write somebody out the script, write them right out. Oh, yeah, you know what? Write that.
Erase them. Use a pencil. Yo, I still love
Write them out.
pencils to this day. Just so you could just
Do you understand what I'm saying,
start
Bernadette?
over.
That people kill me. Oh well, I couldn't give it. Yes, you can. Look, you know what? Thank you for your ride up to this point. I'm gonna drop you off. I got places to go. No disrespect to you, but I still got a
Right.
lot of
I said
journey left.
right.
You
Exactly.
you want to sit here and I'm cool with that. I think that it's beautiful. I salute you. Blessings to you, whatever. But I'm gonna keep it pushing. But we
Exactly.
have to understand that that's motivating as well. You
Right.
have to either take and drag people, not drag people along with you. You got to, like I said, let them off if they stop.
Let
Uh,
them off at their stop. But people
This
want to
this
hold
just
on to, girl, you want to get off here? It's hot here. There's no stop here. There's no water. Listen, you better tuck and
okay.
roll, sis. You said you
Yeah,
want to get out this stop. I'm going to slow down to 25. That's as much as I can
and
do. And grab a bottle of water. You might need
on your
it.
way out. You know what I mean? But we have to understand that that is motivating too, because
Right.
what happens is, as long as you're dragging dead weight, as long as you're
Mm-hmm.
dragging dead weight, and sometimes friends, family, whatever,
Yes.
can be dead weight. Look,
Yep.
we love everybody. That inanely, as human beings, that is one thing that we're definitively born with.
Right.
Now, nurturing happens to be more of a stronger thing in women than it is in men, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist in men. It just
Mm-hmm.
means it's stronger in women because you're Mother Earth. I,
Right.
I bug out so often sometimes because we get into these talks. I'm trying to be this and I'm trying to be that, and I'm like, everybody's trying to be you. Why are you trying to be anything? They're
Yep.
trying to be you.
Yep.
Everybody is trying to be
Yes.
you. I don't
Yes.
look, just look at it for what it is. We watched a rap battle last night. If you were to go on YouTube right now and pull up rap, you see more other nationalities rapping and doing things than you've ever seen any day ever in your life. Again,
Yep.
this is something that was born in the South Bronx, predominantly among black and
That's
Latino American
questionable in the South Bronx.
in the
Yeah.
South Bronx. Rap, that's where rap was technically born. It like this is no disrespect to anybody. We're not taking away from any other group.
We're
It
not
was
going
all
down
about
that road.
no. Listen to me, Bernadette. I know you want to, feel the way you want to feel.
That's fine. I love you.
Look, everybody
Touch it.
knows that that's where it was born, and that's fine. If you don't feel that way, I'm not saying that it didn't
We
reach
gotta
out
have
to
our
other boroughs.
own verses. We gotta have
No,
the
no
Amir
question.
B. Love verses.
It's no question. But to that point, even those people said I was understanding that this was going on up in the Bronx, and then it started spilling out into other places. When the other day, if nobody's paying attention, did anybody see the wonderful thing where they said Madonna was in Harlem? Did anybody see that? Did y'all see that?
No.
They said Madonna was in Harlem recently, and she was marching down 8th Ave, and she had a live band with her.
Okay.
Madonna been hanging out in Harlem. You know why she been
Okay.
hanging out in Harlem? You know why she been hanging out in Harlem? All right, so that's what I'm saying. We don't got to play these games. They know where stuff is. We know where stuff is. They're always trying to be us.
Amir,
Always.
hold on. We gotta keep it clear. And I'm gonna tell you why. I saw a meme the other day, and
Hmm.
they said something about Harlem. No, said something about the Bronx, something about Staten Island, and then they said something about Harlem being a borough, right? And I was like, whoa, now I know I'm missing some stuff. I was like, and I know I don't keep up with all this culture. I was about to text you, Amir, when the hell did the Harlem ever become a borough?
But again, what's going on with that. People look Harlem. The fun thing about each and every borough, first and foremost, is they all have their own culture. They all have their own,
Yes.
and that's what's made New York always so dope. We seem to be losing some bits and pieces of that, but I think that also has to do with the fact that so many of us have moved out of New York and we're in other places around the country. So you might lose a little bit of your New York edge. I'm not saying you've lost it all, but a little bit of it. But I say that to say where Harlem is concerned, and this is how I feel because I spend, a good portion of my time in Harlem just because I've always been enamored with Harlem as a kid. I used to always watch all of these documentaries, and they always spoke to how Harlem was the mecca of the
Mm-hmm.
black experience for a very,
Yes.
very long time in this country.
For
So,
rich and poor. Let's clarify that because there were
yes,
wealthy black people back in the 20s, 30s, 40s when all of this was going on. So
correct,
go ahead, Amir.
correct. But to see the, and even if you look at the dress code, if you look at old
Yes.
vintage of Harlem, cats had on the cut off, had on not even cut off shorts. They had the whatever you call the knickers, and they had the tough shoes on and all the stuff and hats and all this stuff. Even
Yes.
the kids, even down to the children.
Yeah.
Somewhere we lost that due
It
to
should be a borough.
I think we lost it due to our inability to sometimes hand down the information. One of the things that I always say we have to do a better job of, and I still believe this, is we have to connect to the elders because the elders are the gatekeepers of the information.
Right.
They're the gatekeepers of the actual energy of those times, and they can explain to you exactly what was happening and how things are and were during those moments.
Right.
We now know the new versions of things. So now in our hearts and our minds, we think the versions that we know of it are the end all, the
The
be all.
right.
When you really, like I said, look at Harlem and they start talking about the fact that cats like Will Chamberlain had a bar or a club in Harlem that everybody came to, and boxers like Joe Louis and so forth. Everybody wanted to come to Harlem. They still do. When you really think about it,
Yeah, like
see all those
Lennox
bus
Lounge is
tours.
gone. I'm
Yeah,
like devastated, but I was in because I've been Harlem a few times in the past few months, and I'm like, first of all, there used to be like Lennox Lounge, Sylvia's, and then there was mostly bodegas and stuff like that. Now you go up there, there's like hookah spots and all of this, and I'm the Red Rooster, which now they have outside, which was so
yes,
dope in. But I'm just sitting there like, and the first time, to your point, Harlem was so legendary. I remember watching um what you call it, Showtime at the Apollo. So for me, because see, guys, you have to remember, like you guys, it was something on TV, and something on TV wasn't real. It wasn't touchable. You know what I mean? It was like a fantasy place. You hope you could go there one day, but other than my block, I'm not going nowhere. You know what I mean? So when you get to like The first time I was ever in Harlem, I was with my friend John Flowers. We were going to go pick something up from his apartment. And I was like, we were driving down 125th Street and I saw the Apollo sign. I was like, oh, we're in Harlem? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, holy shit, we're in Harlem. And he was like, yeah. This is,
Yeah,
but it's just like, in your view, it was just, oh wow, here's this legendary place where Malcolm X walked up and down the streets like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
so many people, celebrities have walked and been dolled up and partied and hung out in all of these places. Man, you want to talk about Harlem? That's the first time I saw talent, was at the Uptown Comedy Club
comedy
up in
club.
Harlem.
There
And
you
it's just
go.
like, wow.
So
Legends. It's awesome.
l- legends. Look, guys, this hour has gone absolutely too fast as always. But I want to
Yes.
thank my girl B Love here, aka Queen Bernadette. Y'all
Thank
follow her.
you.
B Love, please tell them how and where they can follow you, so this way they can stay current with what you're doing and stay part of your journey. So please.
Thank you so much. For first of all, thank you to all you beautiful queens. I see you, Marlene, Miss Drew, Adrian, Alfreda. Thank you so much for y'all lovely comments. You can follow me at LGL Real Talk. Many of you do. This week's topic, we're talking about God. It's going to be really super dope. So make sure you join me. And then this Friday, guys, on Facebook Live, I'm going to be on the Sean Harvey Morning Show in studio. I'm super, super excited. I hope you guys will join me. We're gonna have a good time, and it's gonna be a good laugh. And so I just want to say thanks to Talent, thanks to Amir. Thank you guys so much. This was really awesome. And because I always gotta roast my. I love Talent. First of all, I love Talent. But he knows he always got to get some business, right? So as I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to wear, Motivation Monday, what do I wear? I was like, okay. So then I'm like, so let's see. Do I wear this hoodie or this hoodie? Or do I wear this shirt or this shirt? Or this shirt or this shirt or this shirt. So then I got excited. I was like, wait a minute, let me go check my email real quick. There's shot glasses. There's all types of stuff going on in here. So I'm like, go check my email. I'm like, I know how Talent is. He's forgetful. Check my email again. I'm like, let me go back a few months. You know what I'm looking for, right? That endorsement deal. Where's the endorsement deal, son?
Hey, I just want to take a moment again to thank Queen B here.
Thank
Bernadette,
you.
thank you so much for co hosting with me today. I just want to go over again. We had a wonderful time talking about look, age ain't nothing but a number. No real reference to R. Kelly there, just talking about the concept in theory of understanding that your age is just that. What you do with it, how you live through it and past it is up to you. So please
Yes.
don't allow your age to be any reason to not live out your dreams, to not be the
Yes.
great person who you are meant to be. Secondly, faith. Keep the faith. Y'all know. We tell y'all that all the time. If you keep the faith, you walk in the steps that you're supposed to walk into, you stay
Yes.
consistent, you'll always get to the dreams and get to the plateaus and all of the wonderful things that you want to see out of life. Last and most importantly, I tell y'all this all the time. It's nice to be important, but it's much more important to be nice. Take that with you, live it every day, do what you do. Come join us every Monday. We love doing this for y'all. To my brother
Yay.
Talent, safe travels, King. I hope
Talent.
we held it down and did you proud today.
Thank you.
Look for him to be back next Monday, hopefully. And if not, then either Queen Bee will be back, or we might have another surprise for you. But I'll
Exactly.
definitely be here. I love you guys. I'm A Rock Sealy on the gram. I'm Amir Sealy on Facebook and on Twitter. Let's do what it do. Y'all have a powerful, powerful week, and we'll see you on Friday. I'll see
Bye,
you.
guys. Stay blessed.